Hi everybody, this is James, circa 2011. He's the Chubs, and he doesn't feel very attractive. Because he's not. He is fat. Nothing wrong with being fat, but he's like, bad fat. Anyways, so he decides to lose a lot of weight. And he even gets a haircut. Now look at that sexy skinny beast. Now the only thing he needs to do now is get rid of that ugly unibrow. And now he feels like some big sexy. Except he's not, because he's all skin and bones. See, when you can see a dog's ribs and hips, it's considered abuse and sick. But when you can see a person's ribs and hips, it's considered beautiful on women. So James starts cutting his hair and combing it properly. And he gets rid of that cheesy mustache. He even puts on a little bit of muscle. Nah, I'm just kidding. He's skinny as hell. So now he looks a little bit better, but he feels like something's missing. Did I mention his idol is Johnny Depp? Look at that beautifully applied black eyeliner. Of course, he has giant white people folds over his eyelids, and you know, today's eyeliner is tomorrow's eyeshadow, so yeah, he gets made fun of. But it didn't matter. He felt good. He did something different that made himself look nice, and it didn't matter what other people thought. Once upon a time, James had this mental image of himself in the future, and he looked like this. Yeah, I know. Freaking weird, right? Well, you can blame body standards for that one. Anyways, with a little help from some very good friends, and a lot of time on Wikipedia, and some soul searching, and some crying, James finally figures out what's wrong with him. Yep, James was born a male and identified as female, and he spent his whole life trying to live up to something that he knew he'd never be okay with. So now he's happy, and he figures out that, you know, he likes the name Amelia a lot more than the name James. And he, well now preferably she, starts to get a little creative with the eyeliner. And she beats herself up in her head every day because there's something wrong with not feeling okay in your own skin. But after a little while, the beatings start to hurt less and less until they're just nicks and scrapes. And some days maybe she got a little too creative with the eyeliner. But after experimenting a bit, she gets better at it. Maybe someday she'll work with eyeshadow. Maybe. She doesn't really like makeup other than eyeliner. So here's where we get into a little bit of the future. If you're watching this video and you are a pervert, one of the things you may have noticed is that she's still flat-chested. And her shoulders are wide and her hips are narrow, but we can't really show that in Saints Row 4 now, can we? So sometime in the future, see, the future, Amelia is gonna get on some magic juice called hormone replacement therapy. It'll redistribute her fat, hopefully make her hips a little wider, and most importantly let her develop breasts and a more feminine face. The only thing getting in the way, besides, you know, the whole spectrum of crap you have to deal with therapists, is that hormone replacement therapy is very expensive. And Amelia and her family are going through a rough time in their lives. So Amelia, better known to you guys as me, Pond, has to stay like this for a little while. In the wrong body, with the wrong voice, in the wrong shape. So on the off chance that this channel actually gains a semblance of a fan base someday, you need to keep it respectful in the comment section, alright? Because if you are not, I'm gonna ban the shit out of you. This topic is very important to me, so you're probably gonna end up having to hear about it in a lot of other videos. If you're uncomfortable hearing about transgender rights or even being around anybody that is transgender, the only thing I can tell you to do is not watch this channel. Just go away. Also, a transgender person is not a transvestite, so please do not use that term. This is a transvestite. Somebody who identifies with the sex they had at birth, but decides to dress like the other sex for whatever reasons. We are not the same thing, so it probably pisses off both of us when you confuse us. Also, transvestites have superpowers. This has been a public service announcement.